Hello, I am Jamie Ballard of Cupcakes Haystacks. I started my online business back in 2018 where I began creating printable planners. It wasn't too long after that I discovered digital planners and I have never looked back. So right now I have an Etsy shop. It's called Cupcakes Haystacks and I sell digital planners and prayer journals. I also teach online courses to other female entrepreneurs who want to learn how to create their own digital planner businesses. I sell digital planner templates. So the whole digital world is kind of my jam right now. I am always looking for new things to add to my shop and to kind of play with and expand my skills. And this year I had an idea for a digital advent calendar. I'm going to be putting a series of these up in my shop and I thought that you might like to do the same thing. So in this tutorial I'm going to walk you through exactly how I make them. Alright, so before we get carried away with our design, first we need to talk about what an advent calendar even is. So in the past, advent calendars, as you can see this one right here in front of me, it recognizes the month of December and the first 25 days that are leading up to and including Christmas. Typically, there is something that is connected to each day that is going to help you to celebrate the holiday season. If you're a Christian, it's going to be leading up to the birth of Christ. And if you are looking at traditional Advent calendars, they're actually going to be physical calendars that have little windows that will open. And each window is one of 25 days, and inside there's usually something hidden. So there might be a little folded up piece of scripture, or there might be an activity suggestion, or there may be, and my favorite is when they have chocolate hidden inside. But since these are digital products, we can't hide a physical item within these calendars. So for me, the biggest part was just kind of figuring out how I wanted to translate that into a digital product. So I do have a couple ideas, and as we start with the whole process, I will be giving you a couple different options that you can choose from to really make the Advent calendar something that is special to you. Alright, so now we're ready to start creating, which means that we need to make sure that our design assets are all ready to go. So you'll want to make sure that you find a really great Christmas clip art bundle and some fonts that you really love. When it comes to the clip art, really the sky's the limit. You can choose any style that you like, any colors that you like, just make sure that it's something that inspires you to create. Now, when it comes to the fonts, you'll want to make sure that you have 3 in your back pocket. The first is going to be a decorative font. So as you're looking at my design here where it says Advent Calendar, this is my decorative font. It's something that's bold, something that's loud, something that grabs attention, and that's exactly what this font's job is. Then you'll want to make sure you have a secondary font. That is where you'll see December 2022 here. So you can see it's not as bold, not as loud as the Advent calendar, but it still has personality, okay? Lastly, you'll want to make sure that you have a very plain, very average font. While that may not be a lot of fun to use, it is going to be very necessary. So as I flip over here to my second page, you'll see that I have a couple sentences down here. Now, if this text was written in my decorative font or in my secondary font, it would be impossible to read. Having this very plain font, while it's not fun, it is something that's going to make your design very user and reader friendly. And once you have your clip art and your font, you are ready to start with your design. So head on over to Apple Keynote. Alright, so I'm going to be showing you this tutorial in Apple Keynote for one reason only. I love Apple Keynote. It is my preferred software when I am creating any type of digital design. And you may not feel the same way. It might be that you are very familiar and experienced with using Affinity Publisher or maybe Adobe InDesign. That's completely okay. As long as your software of choice allows you to create and export hyperlinks, that's going to be very important for this project. I'm confident that you'll be able to take all of the basics that you're learning from this tutorial and just transfer over to that other software program. So I am here right now within Apple Keynote and I'm going to choose just to open a basic white presentation. So I've got that selected. I'll come down here and I'll choose Create. I'm going to delete out these text boxes. I will not need them. And now what I want to do is I want to choose a specific size for this document. Now, really the size is going to depend on the type of device that you would like it to be used on. It could be that you want it to be used on your computer screen, like your laptop. It could be that you want it to be used within an Android device. For me personally, I'm going to be using this on my iPad Pro 2020 11-inch, and I'm going to be using the Note Shelf app. So I have a size specifically set aside for this design. It's going to allow me, when it's exported in its final form, it will allow me to open it on my iPad within my Note Shelf app, and it's going to even leave room along the top for my toolbar. This is where you have your lasso tool or your text tool. So I'm going to come on over here to Document, and I'll come down to where it says Slide Size, and I'm going to choose a custom size. So I'm going to enter in 2300 by 1475. I'll hit OK, and here we are. We have our new fresh document ready to go, and we are going to be ready to start adding all of our fun clip art and text to this page. Alright, so the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a text box for my project title. So I'm going to come on up here, and I'm going to click on this text tool. You can see that a text box pops up for me. I'm going to bring it here up towards the top. I'm going to make sure that it stays centered. And now I'm going to choose the font that I specifically selected for this project. So here under Format, and I'm making sure that text is selected. Under Font, I'll click this double arrow, and I'm going to choose that font. Now I'm going to make it a whole lot bigger because I want it to pop. There we go. And now it's time for me to select the color. Now there's a lot of different ways that you can choose a color for your project. I'm going to open up this little color wheel next to text color. And you can see that under this first option, I have this color wheel, and I can drag this all over the place to select a specific color. I also have the option of clicking on these colored pencils, and I can choose any color that I'd like from here. And then I also have this icon that looks like it has sliders on it. This is my RGB sliders, and I could choose to enter in a hex code. However, since I'm going to be bringing in clip art specifically for this project, it's a whole lot easier to just draw those colors from the clip art. So I'm going to come down here to my Finder, and I'm going to open up my folder that has all of my clip art. There we go. And I'm going to grab this tree, and I'm going to drag it right here onto my canvas. Oops. I'm going to drag this over here. I'm going to select my text again. I'm going to click on this color wheel one more time. And now I'm going to come down here to the bottom where we have a dropper tool. I'm going to click on that once, and I'm going to drag this dropper over top of this darker green shade. There we go. So now you can see that the color of the text matches my tree, and that color is also populated in this square right here within my color panel. What I want to do is I want to make sure that I save this color because I'm going to be using it a lot. So I'm going to click down on it, I'm going to hold, and I'm going to drag it until it snaps right into this color panel. There we go. And now anytime I want to make a text or a shape this specific color, all I need to do is open up my color wheel and then click within that color palette. So that's going to save a lot of time. I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm going to close out this tree for now. I'm going to click in this text box again, and I'm going to type in Advent Calendar. Here we go. And we have created our first text box. And now I want to add another text box that's going to contain my secondary font. So I'll click this text box again. Actually going to bring this up here. I'm going to select my font. There we go. I'm going to make it bigger. And I'm going to change the color to the same color as my decorative font here. There we go. And I'm going to type in December 2022. I'm going to bump this over so that the end lines up with the end of this bottom text. There we go. All right, and now I'm going to start with the actual calendar. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. As I'm creating my design, don't feel like you need to do exactly what I do. Feel free to get creative, but hopefully what you see me doing here is going to inspire you and kind of get the juices flowing. So I'm going to grab my shape tool and I'm going to make each day within the month a circle. Now you could do a square, a rounded rectangle, or you could do it without shapes altogether behind it. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Go. And I'm going to change the color. So here under shape, under style, within this panel here, I'm going to click on my color wheel and I'm going to grab another color that I've already decided I want to use for this. Here we go. Let me get this out of my way. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste until I have 7 circles, and that's going to be a full week's worth. And one of the things I really like about Keynote is the snaps are really easy to use. So you can see that as I'm moving around these circles, it's automatically telling me where to place it so that it lines up perfectly with all the other circles here. There's 6, I need one more. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these and I'm going to copy and paste to make a total of 5 weeks. There we go. And I'm going to move this up a little bit. So when I'm creating these, my goal is to fill up as much space as I can on the document without making it look overcrowded. I don't want there to be a lot of blank white space, but I also don't want it to look like I'm trying to stuff too much into a small enclosure. We can always adjust as we go. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to write out the days of the week, and I'm going to use this secondary font for that. Bring this down here, and I'm going to make it quite a bit smaller. Now I'm going to do a Sunday start week because that is how we roll here in the States, but I know a lot of other places do Monday start, so feel free to deviate from this. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this across, and then I'll edit the text within it. Go. I'm just doing the abbreviations. Go. I'm going to make this December lowercase, and I know that's not grammatically correct, but sometimes when it comes to design, you can choose to break rules in order to make the design more pleasing to the eye. All right, so we're going to start with that. And now what I want to do is I want to add in the dates, okay? So I'm going to grab a text shape again, and this year, December starts on Thursday. And I'm going to choose a new font. So this is where I'm going to use a simple font because I would prefer for this to be easier to read. Make it a bit bigger. Go, and I'm going to change the color. I'm going to make it that dark green again. So you'll see I do a lot of repeating colors and such in here. It makes it a very cohesive design. So don't be afraid to make lots of repeats. It just makes it look like everything goes together. And once again, I'm not going to change the actual numbers in here until I have them all laid out. It's just faster for me to do it this way. Alright, so now that I've added in all of my numbers, I have the 1st through the 31st, I want to make just a few tweaks to the actual calendar before we start doing our clip art and all of that. So an advent calendar typically is just 25 days. It's the 1st through the 25th. So any days that don't fall within that time frame, I'm going to make the circles a slightly lighter green color. Go, and I've already selected a color here. And this is going to make it a little bit easier for the user to identify what days are going to be connected to all of the fun things that you have planned. All right, there we go. And then I'm going to add a little fun thing where I just kind of circle the 25th. So I'm going to come on up here to my shape tool. I'm going to choose a circle. I'm going to bring it down here over the 25th. I'll make it a little bit oblong. I'm going to come on over to arrange, and I'm going to move this so that it's on an angle. Get a little bit bigger. Go. And now I'm going to come back over to style. I'm going to remove the color fill. So right here next to where it says color fill, I'm going to click down and I'm going to choose no fill. And then I'm going to come down to where it says border and I'm going to choose a line. Then under my line, I'm going to select this double arrow and I'm going to choose this rough line. And this is going to make it look like it was kind of drawn on with a marker. And then I'm going to choose the color. And I'm going to pick my Christmassy red. Here we go. So now it just looks like it has been circled on the calendar. All right, so now we get to start adding in all of our fun clip art. All right, so as I am putting together my clip art, you're going to notice two different things about my design. First, I do not like just plain white space. I think it's good to have some blank areas, but I don't like having just this basic white in the background. So unless you're creating a printable where you know that someone is maybe being ink conscious, things like that, there really isn't any reason to have just this plain white. Instead, I like to add like a little bit of a texture or make it like an off-white color. In this circumstance, I'm going to add a paper texture. So I already have one saved here in my folder. I'm going to grab it and I'm just going to drag it right here onto my screen. There we go. And so you can see, I mean, it's just an off-white color. It's nothing that's going to really jump out at you, but it's going to give it a much more professional and finished look. All right, I'm going to send this to the back. Here we are. And there we go. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start bringing in my clip art, and apparently Harry's going to help me with that. All right, so I'm going to grab my folder again, and I'm going to pull my little Christmas tree out here. I'm going to bring this over here, and you may have wondered why my calendar was a little off-centered. This would be why. I want to have my tree take up a good chunk. And you'll notice that I am not afraid of overlapping things sometimes. I actually kind of like the look of it. So you'll see that my tree is covering my the 25th day a little bit. And I am completely okay with that. There we go. All right, now I'm going to grab my next piece of clip art. I'm going to use this little hand. I think it's cute. It'll be like she is decorating the Christmas tree. Make this smaller. So you'll see this here, she's also going to be overlapping my little circles just a tiny bit. Here we are. And now I'm going to bring in my third piece. Since the tree is so heavy on this side, I want to add just a little bit extra here on the right to kind of help balance it out. So over here, play with the angle a bit. There we go. And that is all that I'm going to do for my clip art. Now there's one other thing that I like to do when I know that I'm going to be selling a product, a digital product, and that is adding my website somewhere here on the design. This does a couple things. First, it is going to make it more difficult for someone to take my design and try to sell it as their own because I have that watermark on there. I have the ability to prove that it's my product. And then also it allows my customers to have a way to contact me if they want to. Maybe they really liked the product and they would like to buy something else from me. My website will be right there and they'll be able to contact me easily. So I'm going to grab my text box and I'm going to flip this. So I'm going to come over here to arrange and let's see here. Oops. I always forget what direction to make it go. Here we are. I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to type out my website. I'm going to change the font. Oops. Try that again. There we go. And I'm going to make it smaller, but I'm also going to come down here to where you see this advanced options. I'm going to click the arrow down and I'm going to click up on this character spacing. That's going to put additional space in between my letters and make it much easier to read. Since it's a website, I don't want them to have a difficult time reading it on the screen. Put this over here, but because I don't want it to like scream out, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to, let's try this color. Oops. I'm just going to make it that lighter color. And there we are. So this is going to be the very first page of this particular document. And now we need to decide exactly what type of offerings we are going to have connected to our calendar. Alright, so unfortunately we have established that because this is a digital product, we can't just give away a piece of chocolate for each day of Advent. Instead, we're going to have to get a little bit more creative. And I have two different ideas for you that I think you're going to like. The first is, instead of giving away a piece of chocolate, each day could instead be connected to a free digital download. That means that you can make each day within this 25 days a clickable link. When someone clicks on it, it's going to open up a Dropbox folder that might contain a digital notebook maybe, a free printable, a set of digital stickers, whatever you want. The sky is the limit. And I'm going to show you just how easy this is to do. So I'm going to come on up here and I'm going to grab my shape tool. I'm going to grab a circle. I'm going to set it right on top of day 1. I'm going to stretch it out so it covers the whole circle. I'm going to come on over here to style and I'm going to choose no fill. Okay. Now you're going to see a faint circle around it right now, but when we export this document, there will be no hint of this circle at all. It's going to be invisible completely, okay? So you don't need to worry about it showing up. All right, then we are going to right click. we'll come on down, choose Add Link, and you're going to choose a web page. From here, you are going to put the URL link for the Dropbox folder that contains the freebie for December 1st. It could be anything that you want, like I mentioned. And then once you have that in there, you are going to do the same exact thing for every other day until you have connected the 1st through the 25th to a specific free download within a Dropbox folder. Hopefully that makes sense. It should be very simple. Now me though, because I am absolutely obsessed with digital planning and digital journaling, I like to turn my Advent calendar into a journal. And for each day, there is a journal entry connected to it. So I'm going to show you how I do that. All right, now if you decide to go the Dropbox route where you're offering a digital freebie for all 25 days, you're only going to need this one page, okay? But if you're like me and you want to create some type of journal out of this product, you are going to need 26 pages. There'll be one, which is obviously this main calendar, and then an additional 25 pages, and each page will be a different journal entry. So I'm going to come on over here to my thumbnail. I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose to duplicate it. Now I like to duplicate instead of creating new slides because I'm going to reuse some of the elements and I just don't like having to start from scratch. So here on page 2, I'm going to click on my paper texture and I'm going to choose to lock it. That's because I'm going to be moving some stuff around and I don't want to have to worry about having to constantly move that around too. It'll be locked right where it's at. And I'm going to just delete out some things here. All right. Now I'm going to always keep my website here on the side and this one piece of clip art here as well. This one piece of clip art is going to be kind of like an anchor for all of my pages. It's just going to make it look like everything goes together. I'm going to grab this text and I'm going to bring it down here. We're going to change that in a moment. But first, let's worry about this one. I'm going to click on text here within the panel and I'm going to make this quite a bit smaller. Go. Move this over here and I'm going to type in December 1st. Go. All right. Now I am going to grab a piece of clip art. I'm going to pull this down here. I'm going to make it a whole lot smaller. I'll have it set right up here. There we go. And now I'm going to grab this particular text. I'm going to copy and paste it. And what I like to do within my digital advent calendars is I like to include a piece of scripture relating to Christmas for each entry and then allow people the opportunity to reflect on that one piece of scripture. So I'm going to type in the reference for this. Now, this does not need to be Christian related. If you like, you could make it so that each entry is related to a favorite Christmas memory or have a suggested activity related to Christmas, and then they can journal about their experience with that. This is what I like to do for mine, but feel free to get really creative and make it unique to you and what you'd like your design to be. I'm going to line this up here. Maybe I'll do it out here a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to create a new text box, and this one I'm going to make just a simple text because I want it to be easy to read. Go. And I'm going to make this the same green color as everything else. Bring this over here. I'm going to make it so that it is left aligned. I want this to be left aligned too. I want to be able to match those up. All right, and now I'm going to type out, let's make it a little bit bigger first. I'm going to type out the text for the scripture that I want to use for December 1st. All right, so now that I've written out all of my text, all of my scripture, what I want to do is I want to create some lines to make it a bit easier to journal. So I'm going to come on up here to my shape tool, and I'm going to choose just a basic line. Then I'm going to select arrange, and I'm going to put this on a 0 angle so that it is straight across. I'm going to drag this out a bit. There we go. And I'm going to change up the style of this. So I'm going to come on over here to style in this right hand panel, and underneath stroke you can see it says line. I'm going to select this double arrow right below that, and I'm going to choose this very bottom line. I think that's going to look cute for taking notes. I'm going to select my color wheel, and I'm going to choose that same green that I've been doing for everything else. Get this out of the way. And I'm going to copy and paste this a handful of times. And once again, these snaps and Keynote come in handy for things like this. There we go. That looks good. Maybe I'll do one more line. I'm going to select all of these, bump them up a little bit. Go. All right, and now the last thing that I need to do with this particular page is I want to make this particular text a little bit smaller. Going to make it so that it is left aligned, and I'm going to line it up with this text here, and I'm going to try to make it so it's about even with this bottom line. There we go. I'm going to change the color of this so that it is the lighter green, and I'm going to type in return to calendar. And in just a moment, it will make complete sense why I have this here. All right, so here is the second page, and what you would do is you would go through and you would create 24 more pages, and you would just change up the date. So you'd come over here and you would choose to duplicate this page. You would change December 1st to December 2nd. You would change up whatever your text says here, and you would do that until you have a total of 25 entries. And once you do that, you are ready to set up hyperlinks. I have, you can see, 4 slides or 4 pages over here in the thumbnails, okay? I have my main advent calendar, I have my December 1st entry, my December 2nd entry, and my December 3rd entry. When you're creating yours though, you're going to want to make sure that you have an entry for all 25 days. But this will be plenty for me to show you exactly what you need to do to link everything up. So just like when I was showing you how to create links for Dropbox, we are going to use the same method for linking our different pages together. So I'm going to come on up here and choose my shape tool. I'm going to grab a circle. I will pull it right over here on top of December 1st. Go. Over here in style, I'm going to click on this fill, and I'm going to choose no fill. And then I'm going to copy and paste this to sit on top of all of my days. So since I only have 3 entries completed, I'm just going to do the 1st through the 3rd, but you would create these links or these no filled circles to sit on top of every single day until you got to the 25th. Now I'm going to come back over here to this very first one. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to choose to add a link. But this time, instead of adding a web page, we are not going to be adding a URL because this isn't going to a Dropbox. Instead, we're going to select slide, and this is going to connect this particular link to a specific page within our document. So I'm going to come down here to slide at the bottom, and if you remember, December 1st was on page 2 or slide 2. So I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to change it from 1 to 2. When I click away, this now is permanently attached to page 2. So now I'm going to do the same thing for the second. I'm going to right click, I'm going to choose add a link, I'll select slide, I'll come down here to the bottom, and now we know that our December 2nd entry is connected to slide or page 3. So I'm going to change 1 to 3 this time. And then we'll do the same exact thing with this one. I'm going to right click, I'm going to choose add a link, I'll select slide, select slide again, and then down here we know that page 4 is connected to December 3rd entry. So I'll type in 4 and click away. Now there's one other place that we have to add a hyperlink. I'm going to come down here to page 2, and if you remember down here we created this return to calendar. I'm going to create a shape, just a square this time, and I'm going to pull it out over top of this text. I'm going to change it to no fill again. And now I need to connect this to a particular page. So how this is going to work is whenever someone selects a specific day or entry, they're going to need a way to access the original calendar again. So this I'm going to right click, I'm going to choose add a link and slide. I'm going to come down here, select slide again, and this particular text is always going to connect back to our original first page, our Advent calendar. And you can see this defaults to page 1, so I'm just going to leave it there like that. Then I'm going to click on this particular link, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it right on top of all of my other pages. There we go. And we have completed our Advent calendar. So now what we're going to do is we are going to come on up here to File, and we are going to choose to export this as a PDF. In order for these links that we have created, whether you're doing a journal or whether you are doing connecting to Dropbox folders, the only way to make it work is to export as a PDF. So we'll click this. You'll always want to make sure that your image quality is best, and we'll select Next. You'll give it a title, select where you want to save it, and then choose to export. Alright, so if you are completely new to the world of digital journaling, digital planning, digital products in general, you might still be unsure of how your product is going to function once you export it as a PDF. So I wanted to show you exactly that. Let's take a look at our Dropbox PDF first. Now, if you remember, this is the one where on December 1st we created a hyperlink that was attached to a URL that led to a Dropbox folder that contained a freebie. So when I hold my cursor over top of December 1st, you'll see I get a little pointer finger. This indicates to me that there is a hyperlink right here. And when I click on it, it's going to open up a browser window, and you'll see that that Dropbox folder has been opened and I am able to download the contents of it. So if you are creating these products to sell or to give away, when your customer or friend or whoever clicks on December 1st, this is what they're going to see on their end. And now let's check out the journaling version. So I'll double click on this again. It's going to open up within Adobe Acrobat, and that's just because I'm opening it up on my desktop. You can certainly open it up in note-taking apps like GoodNotes or NoteShelf on your iPad or your Android device. But you can see here when I've opened this, when I hold my cursor over the first, the second, or the third, I have my little pointer finger again, so I know that there are hyperlinks attached to these. But this time, instead of taking me to a browser, when I click on December 1st, it's going to take me to my December 1st entry. And when I'm done with this, I can come down here where it says Return to Calendar, and it'll take me back to the calendar again. And I'll do the same for December 2nd. There we go. Once again, I can click to the calendar when I'm ready, and then let's click on December 3rd. And you can see here I have my December 3rd entry, and I'll go back to my calendar. So you can see that once you have created a hyperlink to sit on top of all 25 days here, each time you click on one of those days, it's going to take you to the appropriate journaling day. So I hope that helps and gives you a bigger picture of what it is that you just created. And if you want to keep listening, I have something else that I think you're really going to like. All right, so if you really loved the idea of taking this Advent calendar and turning it into a digital journal, then you're going to love this. So what I've done is I have created an Advent calendar template bundle. Not only does it make it so that you can create your calendar without having to start from scratch, I've already laid the foundation for you, but I've also put it in a digital journal format that's going to have clickable tabs and everything. So I wanted to take just a quick minute to walk you through this product, show you all the different pages and features that were included, and then I'm also going to show you how I've tweaked it on my end, doing just a few quick customizations. So this is the very first page. This is going to be your template cover. Absolutely everything that you see here is editable with just a couple clicks. I've created a lot of shortcuts that make this process very simple for you. So you can change out this pattern, you can edit the planner bands, you can change up the binding, even the stitching on here is editable. Then we have our second page, and this is going to be the title page. Of course, you can put in the title that you have created for your digital journal. There's a couple tabs on the side that have already been fully hyperlinked for you. This first one is going to go to the main Advent calendar. Then we have another tab that takes you to all of the daily entry pages. And then we have a sticker that's going to lead to a page that's used for sticker storage. And then I have a little bonus one down here. You can see the one with the snowflake on it. And this, it's up to you what you decide to use with it. So whether there's an additional page you'd like to create that isn't already here, you could do that. You could use this particular page that this tab leads to create a bio about yourself and your business, or you could even just leave it blank so that your customer has an extra spot to take notes and such. Then we have our next page, which is going to be the Advent calendar. So this should look familiar. This is the foundation to what we just created in this tutorial. And it's really easy to change up everything. So you are just going to have to switch out the fonts, the colors, add in your own clip art and such, and you're ready to go. Then we have this daily entry page. So you can see right here, I've left a spot open for your clip art. There's a place for you to have the date, the topic for whatever that entry is going to be, and then put in your text. All of that's customizable, so are these lines. You can change up the style of these lines. I also wanted to mention that here in the background, all of these different layers, you can fill these up with any kind of pattern that you'd like also. So there are 25 journaling pages, and then we have, like I mentioned, the sticker storage. Here is the extra bonus page that's connected to this snowflake tab that you get to decide what you'd like to do with. And then we finish it all off with a back cover. So you can see it's a very finished, a very complete product. And I want to show you how I have edited this particular template. So you can see here, this is my cover page. I have this fun pink Christmassy pattern. I have changed my binding over to a leather texture, and I've tweaked these planner bands just a little bit. Then on my first page, I've just changed up the fonts for my title. I've changed the colors of my tabs. I have added this wood grain for the background, and then I have copied my pattern right here on top of that. I've added just a simple crease. And then this is, of course, the Advent calendar. And I wanted to mention too that I have pre-hyperlinked each of these days. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change up the template for each year so that next year for 2023, when you went in to customize it, all of these hyperlinks and the dates will have changed to coincide with the New Year's dates, the New Year's calendar. and then this is a daily entry page. So hopefully this gives you an idea of how much you can easily customize this particular template. If you have any questions about this at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can grab this template on my website, cupcakesandhaystacks.com, or you can just click on the link that is provided for you. Thank you for hanging out with me and going through this tutorial, and I hope that you have a beautiful day.